What is going on YouTube? My name is Mike, coming to you from Health and Wealth. Thank you so much for joining me today on the next episode of me discovering all of the ETFs over at YieldMax one by one. We're going to go through them all. We're going to see how they're doing over the last year. And when we get to the end of the list, they won't have a year in yet, but we'll see how they're doing so far. So yesterday, I covered TSLY, a very hot topic. A lot of comments in that one. I'll go ahead and put that at the end of this video if you want to click on that link to see it. Definitely worthwhile. So what I'm doing is I'm just going over all of the ETFs. We're going to take a look at their performance. We're going to take a look if we dripped our shares, if we went ahead and purchased more shares with our dividends, how would the performance be? And then I'm also going to share how it would be without that drip there too. So let's get right into it and let's talk about OARK. So first of all, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. I know this fund is not a massive fund, so we're going to see how popular this video is. I believe it has $66 million in people's money in it, so it's not massive or anything like that. And I think we'll find out why coming up here. So the fund inception was November 22nd, 2022. Came out roughly or maybe the exact same time as TSLY. 1 year ago, its share price was $14.29. If you had $10,000 at the time, that would have given you, I think it was 699.9, something like that. So 700 shares of value. So first thing I want to do here, I want to jump into the OARK website here on YieldMax, and currently has a 30.78% distribution. You can take a look at all the dividends that it's paid out over the last, I believe it's probably right around 16 months. So hovering around that 70 cents all the way down to 21 cents over that time period. So not the greatest distribution. Now the share price a year ago was $14. So, not too bad considering that. But let's go all the way deeper here. Let's talk about what it is investing in. OARK is investing in the ARK ETF, ARKK. And so that current share price is $45.24. This is a Cathie Wood special. This was, if I go back here to 1 year, you can see it's been pretty volatile, and that's why YieldMax chose this, due to its volatility. But if you take a look at the 5-year chart here, this was all the way up to $149 and it has worked its way down. It seems to be pretty stable here over the last year, being up 10%, which is decent, right? 10% is good. It used to pay out a dividend, but that has been halted. Hasn't paid out a dividend in over a year now. But that's ARK. Now, also, because of its volatility, its premiums are fairly high. And if you were ever to trade options, this could be a good option for you. Seems to be pretty stable premiums there for your covered calls or your cash secured puts. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube. As you know, if you've been watching my videos and you've made it this far, you know I'm just a guy on YouTube, usually wearing a hat. Today, I'm not. So let's take a look at the share price today of OARK, the YieldMax ETF. It is $10.36. Let's take a look at the 1 year chart on this. It's currently down 27% over the last year. And it's getting very, very close to the territory of reverse split. So TSLY did the same thing, right around the same price. Who am I? I'm not a person that works at YieldMax, but that price scares me right there. And personally, I wouldn't be invested in OARK, but let's go through the numbers just to kind of verify that coming up here. So like I said, it was came out November 2022. If you bought it 1 year ago, your share price would be $14.29. And if you had $10,000 to put into it, it would have bought you 700 shares. I've taken the time here to go over the different distributions and dividends it's paid out. And I've kind of done the math here for us. So a year ago, September 2023, they came out with a dividend of 36 cents. And again, with your 700 shares, that would have paid you $252. And at that time, I did the 7th of each month. I know the X date was around the 7th of every month. It's probably a little bit after or maybe a little bit before, but I just chose the 7th every month. So if I had have dripped or dividend reinvested my shares back into OARK, I would have purchased 16 shares with the dividend that I received. So what I've done is I've taken that 16 share right here, I've added it down into here. So now I'm at 733. And you'll notice that the amount of shares that I'm purchasing every month is usually going up with the amount of buying power that I've gained from the previous month's dividend. So pretty decent returns here throughout the year. If you were to drip the entire time, it paid out $4.35 worth of dividend in that 1 year, and it paid out $3,534.42 with drip. Again, right? Drip is the important part here. That drip would have given you 286 extra shares. And if I scroll over just a touch here, we started with 700 shares. But if I had just left it and forgot it, true passive income, I would have had 986 shares at the end of this past month here. Pretty decent, right? Considering you've done nothing. You now have increased your shares by 286. So not too bad there. You're 2 months off from having 1,000 shares if you keep that going. Now I've done a little bit of work here hidden in the black cells here. And I wanted to share that with you. I've created some numbers. Let me go ahead and just kind of unhighlight or make all those white. There we go. So with drip, you purchased 286 more shares 1 year later. The original $10,000 plus the $3,534.42 reinvested. Your total investment now is $13,534.42. So now 986 shares multiplied by today's price. This was at about 3:30 today, August 21st. Of $10.35, you would have a total of $10,205.10. So that investment is now down $3,329.32, or a whopping 33% loss in 1 year. For me, that's a no-go. I'm looking to make money, not to lose money, with the risk of that share price of the ETF dipping any lower. It gets even riskier. And if you just took the dividends and didn't reinvest them, well, then you would have $3,045 in realized gains. So that's money in your pocket, which is good. I mean, you did probably nothing for that. You just sat there and just collected your dividend every single month. You can see those in column E. But if, so I also wrote here, but you would be down $3.94 in share price, or unrealized loss of $2,758. So, when you're investing, it's not necessarily a 1 year game. You're looking to do long term. So if you feel that you can get value out of OARK, then keep going. If you look at that, $3,045 in 1 year, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good return on, what's that, around 30%. And then, your dollar amount has gone down because the share value's gone down, but that's not realized yet. You haven't sold those shares. You still own them. You're still receiving these dividends every single month. So if you wait long enough, you'll recoup your $10,000. It just might take you a little bit longer than on some of the other funds that YieldMax holds. I don't know how you feel about this. For me, it's a no-go. I'm more interested in the higher yielding ETFs like NVIDIA Misty. But I thought I would go over this with you just to kind of share how it's done over the last year. If you found any value at all, hopefully you're still here. Hit that like button for me. And I do have big news. I have reached 585 subscribers. Last video gained me a ton, so I really appreciate you joining me along this journey. I'm going to come out with another video shortly of the third fund that came out with YieldMax. I'll go ahead and post that in a few days. But I do want to let you guys know I'm buying a new microphone. So if that guy who commented yesterday saying I had to stop watching because your audio was so terrible, thank you very much for your encouragement to buy a new microphone. It'll be here tomorrow. Listen, I just wanted to stop in and say hello. Thanks for joining me. Again, this is not financial advice, just a guy reading some stuff that I've created up here. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.